Alright, all you streetlight crusaders, and I guess a couple of you wrestling fans who are still up for tonight, welcome back to the Tuesday Night Special. And now it's time for us to talk about what happened during this week's edition of Monday Night Raw from the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. Which, like Maestro mentioned during the intro, is a special Night of Champions night. And you know, on a side note, why in the world did they stop calling the pay-per-view Night of Champions Night of Champions? I never knew the reason why. Is it because of WCW? I thought they owned that. Well, before we try to figure out that reason, folks, Monday Night Raw would kick off with none other than Drew McIntyre making his way out to the ring to talk about this whole Night of Champions. Only for him to get interrupted by, of all people, Dolph Ziggler, who would come out to not only announce that he is on Monday Night Raw to exchange for AJ Styles, but as well as Robert Roode, his tag team partner in crime. And the fact that there's still a team is still surprising to me, because when was the last time they were in a tag team match? But that's besides the point, because what would Dolph Ziggler say next would be even more surprising. Because not only he would say that all the success that would come the way of Drew McIntyre would be because of him, and would say that he wants a WWE title match because he deserves it and he's earned it. And Drew McIntyre would say that you've become what we've been trying to fight those many long years ago, and that is an self-entitled jackass. And then would go on further to say that he will accept his challenge for a match at Extreme Rules, and would say, I hope you know what you're getting yourself into, because you were the one who called me the Scottish psychopath, and know what lengths I would go in this ring when it's not for a championship, but for the WWE Championship. I might go a little bit further than that. Now, granted, he didn't say that, but at the same time, with the fact that this match is taking place at Extreme Rules, I got a feeling that the match stipulation of a regular match will not happen, and we're gonna really see what the Scottish psychopath can do when things are taken to the extreme. And the next thing to take place on Monday Night Raw, besides Dolph Ziggler managing to weasel his way into another title shot at Extreme Rules for the second year in a row, if my memory serves me correct, or I could be wrong and it could have been Kevin Owens, but either way, let's just say, weaseling his way into another title shot, we would see none other than Nia Jax out in the center of the ring, still upset about what happened last week with referee John Cone making a fast count, and the fact that she lost the championship match at Backlash due to countout, and would say that she would not leave the ring until she gets what she wants, only for, of all people, to come out none other than R-Truth to not only sing and dance, but also confuse Nia Jax for, of all people, Akira Tozawa. And then Akira Tozawa, from right behind the announcer's desk, would come out with a whole bunch of ninjas to chase away R-Truth, for Nia Jax to get down to business and say that she's not leaving this ring until she gets what she wants, only for Charlotte to come out and then for her to list her accolades, and for Nia Jax to tell her, well, the only reason you got what you wanted is because your last name is Flair. Only for Charlotte to say, well, I guess Ric Flair was the reason why I beat Asuka's streak, the reason why in the world I became a 12-time champion, and technically her first women's championship run was because of Ric Flair holding the legs of Sasha Banks. But that's a point for another day, because it would end up leading into a big brawl that would take place in the center of the ring, where Nia Jax would actually hurt the arm of one Charlotte Flair. Now, I'm trying to figure out, when did her arm get hurt? Was it when Charlotte decided to boot Nia Jax in the face, or when Charlotte got roughed up in the corner and was still laying shots on Nia Jax? And by the way, Nia Jax would also bring up a point saying that she has been ducking and dodging her for years on end, going for easy targets while she was champion, which was technically true. Really was. Never really went one-on-one against Nia Jax in well over 3 years. In most of the cases, it's always been a fatal four-way, a triple threat, or any sort of condition that doesn't see her one-on-one against the irresistible force. But besides the track record and match record between Nia Jax and Charlotte Flair that ended up into that whole brawl that I got a feeling it's gonna leak over till Extreme Rules, the next match to take place on Monday Night Raw would see none other than the Street Profits going one-on-one against the Viking Raiders for the Raw Tag Team Championships. Now, before this match could even begin, not only did the Street Profits and the Viking Raiders would end up showing a sign of solidarity and respect for each other, just like MVP and Matt Hardy when they did the I'm Better Than You challenge, but would then say that once that bell rings, we're gonna try to beat you and give you everything we got to keep these championships on hand. Is what the Street Profits would say, only for the Viking Raiders to say likewise. And during this match, they would definitely bring the smoke as they've been advertising for weeks on end. Because during this match, action would go back and forth and would kick off with Eric hitting off a beautiful Tiger knee to the face of one Montez Ford, and leading into a corner smash that is now called the Hammer of Thor for the team of the Viking Raiders to get a near fall for it all. Only for the team of the Street Profits to hit a Viking experience on Ivar or Eric during this match. It would have been incredible if they hit it on Ivar, but no they didn't, and it would still lead to a near fall. And ultimately, this match that was filled with not only rope flip planches countered into power bombs on the outside of the ring for a near fall, and even Eric showing his strength by doing a World's Strongest Slam power bomb combination for a near fall, and even a cartwheel contest between the two teams, would see this match come to an emphatic end once Angelo Dawkins would be able to hit a nasty spine buster on Ivar, leading directly into a spear to Eric, only for Montez Ford to do one of the most incredible moves of the night in the form of a springboard from the Heavens Frog Splash for the Viking Raiders to unfortunately lose this contest and for the Street Profits to retain the Tag Team Championships via pinfall. Now, something we forgot to mention that also happened before this match would begin would be Zelina Vega licking her chops and smiling backstage after the Viking Profits would end up going out to the ring for their Tag Team Championship match. And why would that be an important red herring to mention after the match was over? Well, after the Viking Raiders and the Street Profits would end up hugging it out and showing more signs of respect, next thing you know, Angel Garza and Andrade would come out from out of nowhere and beat the Living Daylights flag tag out of the Street Profits. And then would stop the second they see the Viking Raiders heading back toward the ring to defend their newly friends that they decide to make during this whole I'm Better Than You competition. Only for Angel Garza and for Andrade to explain themselves backstage that they're coming for the Tag Team Championships. So now they're a unified front after some Tag Team gold. And it only took them a week to make up, proving how good Zelina Vega is as a manager. And the next match to take place during this Night of Champions night on Monday Night Raw would see none other than Asuka going one-on-one against Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's Championship. Now, what we forgot to mention during the beginning of the night is that Charlotte got a chance to fight against Asuka for the championship, and that little fight that happened between her and Nia Jax, would it come back to haunt her during this match? Absolutely, because during this match, action would go back and forth and would see Charlotte pulling off not only a nasty spear during this match for near fall, but also pulling off a basement big boot on the outside of the ring after receiving a nasty kick to the face by Asuka sliding on the apron, only for Asuka to come back with not only a Fujiwara armbar, but also getting countered out of that armbar with a disgusting powerbomb for a near fall by Charlotte, only to see Charlotte try to come back with a figure four for that to get countered into a small package, and for this match to come to an emphatic end immediately after that powerbomb, only for Asuka to counter the pinfall directly into the Asuka lock, only for Charlotte to tap out in the center of the ring, for Asuka to finally vanquish her demons of not being able to defeat Charlotte Flair in a one-on-one contest for a championship via pinfall. Or at all, because last time I remembered Charlotte always got the better of Asuka, but now things are different. And after the match was over, Charlie Caruso, who seems to become the April O'Neil of the night, being everywhere and anywhere trouble follows, would end up talking to Charlotte and saying, how do you feel after that championship loss, and not to mention the fact that what happened between you and Nia Jax may have played a key role during it. Only for Charlotte to say, I understand this is not ballet, and before she could go any further, would get the crap kicked out of her by Nia Jax yet again. Only this time, it would lead to her arm getting caught in what appears to be I don't even know what the world that thing is. Is it a thing that you hold clothes like a laundry basket? Yeah, according to the maestro, had her arm winched into a laundry basket of sorts, for her arm to get hurt even worse than it was before, and for security and referees to show up after the deed was done. Man, they really need to work on security there at the Performance Center when Superstars gets attacked from out of nowhere by a whole bunch of people. And the next thing to take place on Monday Night Raw would see Edge, who would not only tell Randy Orton after he said that he lit a fire underneath him, that he lit a fire underneath the Rated R Superstar. And as a matter of fact, would say that this is far from over, especially after what he did to his best friend Christian, and not to mention what he did to Edge himself, because he was unable to hold his children during Father's Day that took place this past weekend thanks to Randy Orton, and said that he's gonna pay him back in kind when he returns, and not to mention is coming back not as the Edge who was happy to be here and wants to have the greatest wrestling match ever, but instead the one who was the Rated R Superstar. So basically, Edge is coming back to what he was back in 2009, which is a good thing for him. As a matter of fact, according to the maestro, it's 2006 when he was at his most dangerous, which is true. And I guess with that said, folks, we might as well head back into this music and grab a glass of water, because when we return, we'll be back with the second half of what happened during this week's edition of Monday Night Raw from the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida, as the Tuesday Night Special rolls on right after this. So don't go anywhere just yet, folks, and stay tuned.